Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into something I find absolutely fascinating: decoding the secret language of our feline partners. For years, we've basically just operated on these broad assumptions about how the cats in our living rooms actually view us. But today, we're going to dive into some of the latest findings in feline cognitive science. And let me tell you, we're going to reveal the startling reality of who you truly represent in their world. It is so cool. Okay, so let's kick this off by tackling the core question that's been sparked by, years of viral headlines and funny internet videos. You've almost certainly heard it. The idea that your cat basically just looks at you and sees a really big, super clumsy, and maybe kind of dim-weighted cat. It's a hilarious thought, right? But we have to ask, is that actually scientifically accurate? Well, it turns out that viral idea, the one where you're just a giant fumbling feline, it's fundamentally wrong. Your cat's brain is actually way more perceptive than that. In their framework of reality, you aren't a competitor, and you definitely aren't just a larger version of them. Instead, the biological truth is that you represent a completely unique category, one that exists literally nowhere else in nature. Let's start peeling back the layers of this mystery by taking a look at the big cat myth and decoding what we call the predator code. Think about it. In the natural feline world, a larger, unfamiliar cat is pretty much always a threat. Size dictates dominance, it dictates competition for food, the whole shebang. So if they genuinely saw you as just a big feline, their biological software, their predator code, would trigger a constant, exhausting state of alert. They'd be watching your every single move for a territorial takeover. But recent neurological studies show this wild thing called the human exception. While they do use feline social language with us, like that adorable slow blink or the tail-up greeting, they entirely strip away that competitive predator code. For you, they create a role totally devoid of competition. Which brings us to our first biological lens, the static resource anchor, and what is honestly the absolute miracle of predictability. So, in their mental map of the house, you've become a static resource anchor. Unlike a wild cat that's constantly on the prowl and fiercely competing for every single calorie, you are a biological anomaly. You're this powerful, massive entity that just provides. You give them essential resources without demanding dominance and without any violence. You're a fixed point of stability in a world that, to a small predator, is normally pure chaos. And by simply being that reliable, non-threatening presence, you are satisfying the deepest possible craving of a solitary survivor. For a solitary predator, predictability is the ultimate holy grail. By offering it day in and day out, you're laying down the very foundation of how they value you and place you in their environment. But to find out what you really are to them emotionally, we need to talk about olfactory identity fusion and crossing that invisible boundary. See, to us humans, the world is highly visual. We look around and see a person, a dog, a cat. But to your feline partner, the whole concept of visual species categorization, it basically doesn't exist. For them, identity is olfactory. It's all about smell. So when your cat is enthusiastically rubbing their face against yours or weaving in and out of your legs, they aren't just saying a quick hello. They are performing a high-level identity fusion. They are mixing their chemical markers with your human pheromones to create one shared collective identity. Here's exactly how this fusion goes down. First, they use these highly specialized scent glands located right on their cheeks and foreheads. Every single time they bunt against you, they're literally writing their biological name directly onto your skin. But it's a two-way street. At the exact same time, they're reading your unique human pheromones. This biological handshake culminates in the creation of a single super colony signature. You have officially become a biological extension of their own self. Now, this brings us to a really fascinating and honestly slightly mind-blowing fact. Ever wonder why your cat might suddenly decide to aggressively groom your hand or arm, especially after you've had an incredibly hard, stressful day? Well, they aren't just trying to clean you. When you're stressed, your body produces hormones that actually disrupt that shared chemical scent we just talked about. They are grooming you to repair that invisible boundary between your body and theirs. They're frantically trying to restore the group signature that your stress has thrown completely out of whack. So, in their reality, you definitely aren't their master. You are their chemical partner, locked in this biological vow that basically says, we smell the same, therefore we are one. It's just such an incredibly intimate way to experience the world, and a huge testament to how deeply they fold you into their own identity. For our final layer, let's explore the kinetic signature and try to literally see through their lens for a moment. To truly get this, we have to look at how their eyes actually work. While our human vision is all about sharp features and instantly categorizing species, feline vision operates on a vastly different wavelength. Because cats are quite nearsighted and actually lack the receptors for certain colors, your complex human face, with all of your nuanced microexpressions, is pretty much just a soft, fuzzy blur to their visual software. So you might be wondering, if they can't clearly see your face, how on earth do they know it's you? Well, they recognize you entirely by your unique kinetic signature. You represent a very familiar rhythm of movement. When you walk into a room, they don't see facial features. They see a luminous silhouette of stability. The specific way you walk, the pace of your steps, the daily rhythm of your routine, that is your true face to your cat. And what does that familiar rhythm actually mean to them? Think about it. In the natural wild, every living thing is basically either a competitor or prey. But you're a total anomaly. To them, you are the god of the core territory. You possess the magic of the infinite food bowl and the safe touch. You provide life-sustaining resources entirely without the violence of the hunt. Let's bring this all together by looking at your ultimate role, the guardian of the sanctuary, guarding the wild spirit. When your cat spots your kinetic signature coming down the hall, they absolutely do not see a large, clumsy cat coming to fight for territory. Not at all. They see a glowing, warm, and highly predictable pillar of safety. You are the only creature on Earth that has earned the right to have their fierce, wild survival instincts completely and totally shut down. So while the literal image they see might just be a blur of warmth, the meaning behind that blur is so profound. By acting as the constant force that stops their chaotic world from spinning, you aren't just keeping a pet. You've managed to look past the fur and connect with the soul of a survivor. You are guarding a wild spirit that has decided, against all its biological instincts, that you are worth the immense risk of being vulnerable. I really hope this explainer has completely shifted your perspective on the human-cat bond. We've totally dismantled those old viral myths and replaced them with a much deeper, more scientific, and honestly, a far more beautiful truth. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder about your own feline partner. Now that you know the real biological truth of your kinetic signature and olfactory fusion, how do you feel your cat truly recognizes your specific presence in the house? Really think about that the next time they come over and weave through your legs. Thank you so much for joining me today.